Hey everybody, how y'all doing? This is the Blue Chip Podcast by fans for fans. This is your host Cody Potter. How y'all doing? We're going to do our college game day breakdown. A lot of matchups today, man. I can't key on so many because there are honestly like three huge games that normally I would flip. Normally I'd have like multiple screens when I'm watching, taking little notes and doing things like that. But this is not the week for that. There are three huge games with so many prospects, offensive line, defensive line, things like that, linebackers, safeties, everything. I mean, honestly, across the board, these three matchups between these six teams, these are all going to be players, filling this draft board, man, throughout the year. Man, like you're going to see OSU, Bama, Mizzou, Illinois, Indiana, and Oregon. You're gonna see a ton of players come from all these teams, man. So realistically, we're just going to talk about these three games. These are not all the highlighted matchups. I'm going to have to go back, throughout the course of the week, probably Sunday morning. I'm pretty much probably going to watch college football all day Sunday just because the Commanders don't play till Monday night. I got Sunday and Monday to really break down the rest of these games. So those games are going to be the Red River Shootout, of course, man. Texas, Oklahoma, man. No matter what the records are, the game's always going to be good. Michigan, USC. Michigan's traveling to California. This is going to be a big game for Bryce Underwood. USC is a really, really good team. I think they play completely different stylistically to what Michigan does. But that defense, man, I'm looking for more to have an impact off the edge and things like that. We know the Michigan running back, man. He's going to command some attention. And then Kansas, Texas Tech. Kansas is always going to be in the game. Jalen Daniels is a pretty good quarterback, man. I think he has a future in the NFL, whether it's backup, whether it's a fringe starter, things like that, whether he, takes the reins and is an impact starter for a team. I think the ceiling is yet to be determined with this player, but he's a really good player that I like. And then South Carolina, LSU, I love the quarterback matchup there. So, we're definitely going to get to scouting that as the week goes on. And then Utah, Arizona State University, man. These are the matchups that I'm going to have to go back and really key into with the prospects and things like that for the draft board. That doesn't mean that's all the matchups that I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch every team, every game, do my highlights on players and things like that. Again, I don't do so much offensive line as it comes into, during the season and things like that, but I have highlighted a few of them because honestly, the offensive lines in these matchups are key, man. There are a ton of draftable grades that I got on all of these offensive line, all six of these matchups, man. I have some of my favorite offensive linemen in the whole country right now. So to get into it with Bama, we got LT Overton, Bray Hubbard, the strong safety, number 18. Keon Sapp, the free safety, number 3. Caden Proctor, he's one of the top offensive linemen in the country, man. I think he's my number 3 right now. He's an athletic freak. He's everything you want from a left tackle: size, height, weight, speed. The testing numbers are going to match everything you're seeing physically from him on tape. And then Ty Simpson, the quarterback, man, he's really put himself in the conversation for being one of the top quarterbacks in this NFL draft class, man. This isn't the Jaden Daniels class and things like that, but it is much better than last year's class as far as where Cam Ward and Jalen Milroe were really the only two quarterbacks that I had draftable grades for, along with Shedeur Sanders, of course. I didn't think he was a 5th-round player. I thought he was more of a 3rd-round guy. When in the 5th round, I thought that was a little bit crazy, but for whatever reason, I'm not super high on Shedeur Sanders, but his game translates. Like he can be an NFL starter in this league, with reps, with time. I thought he needed to sit. That's why I had a 3rd-round grade on him. He's just not the biggest guy in the world, doesn't have the biggest arm in the world, but when you watch him play, he's a hell of a player. And then the Mizzou, honestly, man, this is probably one of my under-the-radar players, man. Like, he's right there with LT Overton, the Utah offensive tackle, and then, of course, my top tackle from Miami. Keegan Tross, the right tackle from Missouri, man. Like, honestly, like, the only reason I'm even keying on one of these offensive linemen from each of these schools is because all 5 of these guys on each of these units are really, really good players, whether it's the offensive center, whether it's right guard, left guard, whatever it is, whether it's the lineman. All of these teams have linemen that are they're probably going to have 2 or 3 linemen each team picked in this NFL draft. Oregon, looking at Dan Lanning behind me, man, he's he's got a friggin' squad, man. Like, offensive and defensive line, they're there. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to make a legit run this year. They could be national champions by the end of the season. It wouldn't surprise me. He's, in my opinion, the best coach in college football right now, even over like Ryan Day and all them guys, and all the other coaches that I really really like. But again, so Ahmad Hardy, he's not draft eligible this year. He's a sophomore, but the running back from Mizzou, you cannot look at Mizzou and not talk about this guy, number 29, halfback. Kevin Coleman, the wide receiver, number 3. He's a player that you're going to see have a really, really big impact in this game. Nick Rodriguez, the linebacker, number 20. This guy is grading out really, really high for me. Big thumper in the run game, man. Can get after the passer. Think he needs a little bit more work in the coverage grade, but he's a 270. He's a big linebacker, man. He's big, huge linebacker. He can run, especially downhill, man. His relentless pursuit, man. He's really, really good with pursuit angles and things like that. Sheds blocks because of his size. Nick Rodriguez is going to make a team look really, really smart. A little bit of a yesteryear kind of linebacker as far as build. But all the traits, man, and honestly, he's not bad in coverage. I just don't think he's the best coverage linebacker. I mean, there's a lot of really, really good coverage linebackers with the way that the era is, this modern era is playing out. Linebackers that can cover running backs out of the backfield, play with tight ends and things like that. He's a little bit more yesteryear, but he has shown, the ability to be able to cover. It's just he's not grading out probably that high for me, just because of his size and because of the qualities that you're seeing around college football and in the NFL with the coverage. I mean, some of these linebackers play more like strong safeties and things in their coverage ability, so you got to take that into consideration when you're grading out these players, because every year the position evolves. Zion Young, the edge, number 9 from Mizzou. Damon Williams, Wilson, the other edge from Mizzou, number 8. And then Marvin Burks Jr., the strong safety, man. Like I said, I've mentioned it a bunch of times before as far as these prospects are grading out. Safety, linebacker, edge, interior defensive line, man. Like the offensive line, I haven't mentioned, like I said, I don't mention them that much as the season goes. But when it comes to the end of this year, man, this draft is loaded at the meat and the potatoes of the defense and the offensive fronts, man. Like I love this class. It's going to be a really, really good class for teams that need these positions. So if you're watching your team on Sundays and you see the struggles around the league, as far as pass blocking or, run blocking, things like that, or getting after the quarterback things, if you haven't needed any of these spots, man, you're going to find a really good football player that really fits a lot of different scheme styles. There's a lot of different highway speed combinations and things like that, explosive abilities and things, hand usage, technique refinement and things like that. There's a lot of really good players at these positions. So if you need anything in the trenches, man, you're going to find a good football player. As far as the back-end players on the defense, man, this is one of the best years we've had in a long time as far as the safety position goes. Honestly, it's probably the best class I think I've scouted so far. And that's saying something because there's been some classes where I've really, really liked a ton of safeties. And then that actually brings me to my next point with OSU. You got Caleb Downs. He's a unicorn, man. He's a true blue. He's going to be that guy. I think Caden Curry, honestly, the edge number 92 from Ohio State, he's working his way up into blue chip grade for me just with his effort. I love this dude's motor. And honestly, it's hard to scout when you see so many good players on that defense because honestly, I mean, I could go Sonny Styles. Then you got Styles Jr. over at the nickel spot, and then you got Arvell Reese, the linebacker, number 8. I mean, he's an impact player. He is fast. He just shows up on tape, and he brings it. He brings the juice every play. Same with Caden Curry. That's why their defense is so top tier. That's why they're hard to score against. Man, this Illinois matchup, I really, really do love it. This is the first time I think I'm seeing Ohio State against a team as complete as Illinois is as far as on the front on both sides of the ball. As much as I love Washington, UW, they really do have a lot of dynamic playmakers that I like on the back end of the defense, on the the wide receiver position, running back, quarterback, things like that. They have pretty good players on the fronts that can get it systematically, but when I'm looking at Illinois, they got some guys. They got some guys on that defense. They got some guys on the offensive line like J.C. Davis, number 74. This dude's a really good offensive tackle. Again, grading out really high. He's, fringe first round ability. I mean, honestly, I could see up to 8 or 9 offensive linemen going in the first round, and that isn't even on my first round grades that I have for this offensive line class, man. And like, we're not even done scouting it. Like, I haven't even started with it. That's what's making it so crazy for me right now. Injuries and things like that will affect it going forward. You'll start to see the key matchups like this weekend where it's playoff team, playoff level caliber team against playoff level caliber team. And it starts to, really define how the draft board starts to shake out. So this is where it starts getting pivotal. Hank Beatty Jr., the nickel, he's the inside wide receiver for Illinois. I really like this guy. He's a true slot. I like this guy. He has, I think, the skill set to play outside, but I think his best trait is inside wide receiver slot guy. Around 5'10", about $185, 190. Very, very good movement skills, suddenness, great hands, can play bigger than his size. I like this player, Hank Beatty from Illinois. Then the defense on Illinois, you got Gabe Jokas, number 17, edge. This is a guy that can get after the quarterback. He's a big guy, man, big explosive guy. I think he grades just as good against the run as he does against the pass, at least for me right now, because he's just technically sound for his size. Then he lines up against Kurt Neal, number 99, the interior defensive lineman from them. Honestly, and then you got Rosiak, the linebacker, number 28. These are the three key players for Illinois in this defense, man. This defense matches up really, really good on the inside, man. So when it comes to the physical dynamic too, I think they can keep up with Cardinal Tate and the guys, Max Clare, the tight end from Ohio State, could have a really, really big game today, but that's why I want to see, Rosick covering this guy. This is a good matchup for him because Rosick is a really good coverage linebacker. This is where you're going to see the grades, fluctuate from this game. This is really the type of matchup you want to see for these type of players. This is where, does Max Clare excel, or does Rosick excel, or do they just win and lose against each other based on the reps, grade out kind of similarly, and then it really helps you solidify where they're at overall, by the end of the year. This is the type of matchup that you want to see. Jeremiah Smith, he's a stud. Just everything that OSU has outside, I think that's going to be the difference in the game. They can run the ball too. But I expect Illinois to be there, man. Like in the first half of this game, it's probably going to be really, really tight. The physical presence is going to show up on each side, in the fronts, and that's what you want to see from a good college football game, man. And at the end of the game, it can be anybody's. I think the quarterback play has been really, really excellent at OSU with the weapons and things like that. I think he's a little bit better than what everybody expected from a first-year starter. But this game's going to come down to it, man. But all these matchups are top 17 or they're top 17 teams or lower. And then this matchup that I'm about to talk about, Indiana, Oregon, man, I could have highlighted every player on both sides of the ball. All these guys are really, really good. This is a playoff game. This is a playoff game. It could be ran back in the playoffs this year. You got two quarterbacks that are going to go really, really high in this draft, whether it's Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore. I think both of them are completely different players. You got the 6'5", big 235 guy with the cannon, with a really good arm that reads the field really well with good enough legs for his size to change the fronts and change the arm angles and things like that to get out wide on the boot. But he does it so well within the pocket, man. Has a really good feel, a little bit of a yesteryear as far as the way he plays from the pocket, but he can do it also on the move, and that just brings another element to this offense. I could have highlighted all five offensive front on both of these teams. Both of these teams, I think every one of their offensive linemen will be drafted on their year of eligibility when they declare. And honestly, they're probably all going to be within the first 3 to 4 rounds at the max. And that's probably the bottom. That's the floor for, I think, each of these guys. And there's first rounders thrown along both of these lines. Makil Kamar, the edge, number 6. He's my highlighted player today for Indiana. This dude is a difference maker. If Indiana's going to upset this game, which really isn't an upset because these teams are so evenly matched, in my opinion, the way that they're producing, though Oregon has been in a big game already this year, I think Indiana they do what they do. They have a little bit weaker schedule so far, but they're making noise, man. They're showing from last year to this year, man, they are a much better team. They're more complete. Now that they've played the big games last year, I think they're going to be a little bit more ready for this. This game is going to come down to the wire. If you told me this game went into like triple overtime or something like that, I wouldn't be surprised. Tyreek Tucker, the interior defensive lineman from Indiana, number 95. The one thing about Indiana is there's a lot of redshirt seniors and things like that, so they're a little bit older. But trust me, they're ready to play and they're going to bring it, man. These are all really, really good players. You got Keelan Wyatt, the other edge player on the other side, number 13. Relaja Hardy, the linebacker, number 21. this defense is really, really good. And then Amari Farrell is probably the second best player on this defense behind Kamara. So, I mean, you're looking at him, safety number one. He's going to be the difference on the back end, man. Is he going to be able to, line up against Kenya Sadiq and things like that? Eliminate him from the game. Keep the wide receivers out wide from going off. Because let me tell you, man, that true freshman for Oregon is dude, he is that dude. Throwing to Moore is a dangerous combination out there in Oregon. And then you got Kenya Sadiq that eats it up inside. You got the best offensive lineman that I have graded for Oregon right now is Emmanuel Pregon. He's the offensive guard on the left side. And that's just he just shows out the best to me. It doesn't mean he's actually going to go the highest because he's the offensive guard. Interior guards don't tend to go higher than offensive tackles. Third tackles are grading out very similar for me as him. I just highlighted him because I think he's the difference in the run and the pass. I think he's the best, most complete offensive lineman that they have. And then a player that's going to go in the first round for me is Dylan Thiemann, the safety number 31. He's a stud. I think he's the most dynamic player that they have on that defense. And then, followed right behind him is, Mateo Ugalele, number 10, the edge. Big 275-pound guy. I mean, this guy is explosive for 270 pounds. Can play the run, can play the pass. I thought he was going to have a little bit better season than he has, but this is probably the time of the season where he turns it on and he's going to show it in this game. This is the type of matchup in the offensive line, in the trenches, that you're going to look for this guy to be explosive and be dynamic in this game. This is the type of game where his draft stock really goes to where it's going to end up because of games like this. These are the type of matchups that you say, he did it against a tackle that I have graded in the first 2 rounds. He really is legit. He's grading out as a top 20 player, and honestly, he has that skill set. Jerry Mixon, the linebacker, number 54. Jaden Kennedy, the nickel corner, number 22. I think he is my best grade right now for inside corner from the nickel. Just with my notes that I have right here, and then we got Kenya Sadiq that I've already mentioned from the tight end position. And then again, man, just the linebacker play from this game, man. Indiana, Oregon, that is a huge matchup. I wish this game was at 7:30 or something like that, man. It would be really, really good to see this game at night. But again, man, these are the type of matchups that you're looking for. This is what happens after week 6, week 7, man. You start to see these top 15 teams lining up. These games really, really start to have the playoff implications and things like that, and you're really, really starting to lock your board in because you're starting to see the matchup where it's this guy who's a draft eligible prospect, this guy, they're grading out both really, really high. What do they do against each other? That really solidifies their grade. It's not an end-all, be-all if one player has a bad game, but it just happens. But I mean, as far as you look, this is the type of matchup that you want to see them excel in because this is where the level of competition finally levels out. And again, man, just really, really excited for this week of football, man. So thank you guys for checking out the pod, man. It's going to be a really, really awesome day. Enjoy your Saturday tilt, man. Enjoy these games, man. These are really prime matchups, man. I'm really excited. College football just never quits, man. It's week in, week out, man. There's always something excited to watch. You never know what's going to happen, man. In college, it's just this is what college football is all about, man. So again, appreciate you guys for sticking around for the pod, checking out the Blue Chip Podcast. It's your host, Cody Potter. Have a blessed day.